Yeah.
It's just,
Well, I did notice the absurdity, but then on the other hand, I thought, okay, well, they're here at least. And they're bringing, I mean, now everybody knows about Malawi. So there was some good that came out of it.
Now,
Yeah.
as far as you're concerned, like, I mean, people see you as doing your feature directing, and you're also doing your humanitarian work.
Hmm.
How do you prioritize? What is the most important thing to you? And
Well, one pays for the other. So to be a humanitarian and a philanthropist, you have to have money.
Mhm.
And so, you know, fortunately, you know, I feel very blessed and lucky to, you know, have a successful music career that enables me to be a philanthropist. So they're both important.
You know, transforming all the time, but
Mhm.
this time it seems like you've actually undergone a completely different change, sort of like a humbling experience and a
Mhm.
spiritual experience. How would you describe, when you first arrived in Malawi, when you first noticed what was going on, I mean, do you recognise that person anymore?
What do you
If
mean?
you know what I mean, that you seem to, you know, do you feel like you've changed since you got the plane to Malawi and...
Yeah, I mean, but I didn't change completely. There are still aspects of me that have remained since I was 12 years old. So, um, I, I mean, I feel like I have I've become a much less judgmental person since going to Africa. Um, and I don't think I take people or places or situations as literally as I used to. And I think I see much more every side of the story than I used to, because when I went there in the beginning, I was shocked and I was horrified, and I felt paralyzed, and then I thought, oh my God, the problem's too big. There's nothing I can do, and then the next day I'd feel really hopeful and idealistic and think I can change the world, and then the next day I'd think, oh God, you know, it's too hard to change anything here. There's too much bureaucracy and you can't get anything done and no one shows up on time and there isn't even a car for me to get from this place to the next place and it's hopeless. And then the next day I'd wake up and, you know, I mean, you know, you go through like the whole gamut of emotions and then you get to the end and you realize that, you know, at the end of the day, there is no black and white. It's all gray. And it's important to realize that life is not meant to be taken literally, and that you can find suffering anywhere in the world, in the most privileged places, and you can find joy anywhere in the world, in the most, you know, ravaged places. So, see the sort of paradox of life. Yeah.
Because I mean, it's quite... Okay, so we're rolling now.
Okay.
So first and foremost, I mean, my reaction, and I think everyone's reaction last night, was a sense of sort of shame and ignorance and everything like that.
Like my reaction
Yeah.
in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, how would you explain what you want to do with the film and how you want people to react?
Well, I want people to be shocked when they watch it. I want people to be moved, outraged, and at the end, I want people to feel a sense of responsibility and also a sense of hope. I don't think there's any point in telling a story that is so sort of heartbreaking that it paralyzes you into inaction. I mean, I hope that what I've accomplished is that I wake people up, and that then by the end of the film they feel like they want to do something, they feel compelled to do something. It's a call to action, and then we offer suggestions about what people could do, and there's also a website that people can log on to, and it gives a whole list of things that you can do. So, you know, it's the beginning, but that's what I hope to accomplish. Yeah.
I also say I felt very guilty because going back to sort of the journalism side of things, people always slug you as the material girl. Do you find that like, I'm not the material girl anymore, I'm actually something else?
Well, I never was the material girl then. It was meant to be ironic, but no one ever seems to understand my sense of irony, except possibly the French. But, I mean, but you can take it in so many different ways, because I am material in that my physical body is material, you know? And, you know, as life goes on, you begin to understand and appreciate things that are not material. Still, I have to live in the physical world. And so You know, when I said I am the material girl, when I sang that song in the early '80s, it was very, always consider, you know, I considered it tongue in cheek. I think at the end of the day, you know, I love fancy clothes and sparkling diamonds and parties and dressing up and, you know, all of those things, but I don't need them to be happy, and I never did. So, I don't know. I think that I am hopefully becoming, you know, a better version of myself as the years go by. Yeah.
How do you, I mean, because you saw all these things.
Mm-hmm.
As far as yourself goes, because obviously you have money as well, you know, so, and you can have the ability to help people, but you have that bit in the film with the woman saying you can hand out $15, but then another person comes, another person comes, another person comes.
Mm-hmm.
How did you manage to manage yourself?
You still do that. I mean, sometimes I would go to places and I would realize that, you know, I went into a house where a woman was dying, a hut, and she was in so much pain, and no one seemed to know what was wrong with her, and she was beating on her legs, and she was so much pain, and she was crying, and I felt so helpless, and I just took all the money out of my pocket and handed it to her. You know, sometimes you just have these strange impulses to help people, and you think, well, I know I'm not going to save the whole village, you know, or you just take your shoes off and give them to people. I mean, that's what happens when you go there. You realize the futility, but at the same time, you can't help it. You'll give people the shirt off your back, so.
And is it quite often, I mean, I don't know, I mean, did they know you at that level?
I mean, a lot of people didn't know who I was. They just, you know, funnily enough, what they used to call me when I first came there was Mabuena, which sounds like my name, but it just means distinguished white woman. And it's what they call anybody, like a white person that comes in, and they perceive them as somebody who's helping. And, you know, they knew that I was somebody, but they didn't know who I was. So I was quite happy with that anonymity, which lasted until the press showed up. And then they realized I was somebody, but still didn't really know who I was. I mean, they don't have television, so.
Last question.
Okay. When you know, with the adoption, when just seeing David in those pictures in the film,
Mm-hmm.
It made me, because I would read people's articles, and you read through the editorial, and so you sort of start believing it, and then you think, I understand now about where you were coming from, and I think how awful it must have been for you. I mean, and how would you describe that period, like knowing that this terrible like epidemic's going on, and people are just constantly just nagging you? I mean,
criticizing me.
Yeah.
Well, it was a dark moment of realization, but you know, and it was a tough time for me. I won't lie, because just the whole adoption period, you know, going through the bureaucracy of it and everything was exhausting, and then you know to have to you know go there and see the you know the palpable suffering of the children and to feel like you were doing something good, and then to come home to everyone screaming and outraged and accusing you of kidnapping, and all the, you know, it hurt, I have to say, but you know, time has gone by, and I can look back at it and say, well, you know, people didn't understand, and often people jump to conclusions when they're not educated and they don't know what's going on, and I knew eventually that people would understand the story, and you know, obviously I had to go through that as well, so it all worked out okay in the end.
I mean, it seems just like lazy journalism.
You certainly are not surprised by the concept of lazy journalism. I mean, I'm not accusing you of being a lazy journalist, but most people, you know, saying something negative is going to sell a newspaper, not saying something positive. So their economy has a lot to do with the lies that people tell in newspapers, or the, you know, the what's the word I'm looking for? Sensationalism is what sells newspapers, and there's a lot of competition out there. So I think economy has as much to do with what people report in newspapers as it does people's attraction to bringing people down and being cynical.
Yeah. It just seems amazing that they all come down to Malawi. We are basically
The title.
The title of the film, and also the message of the film.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most important thing about you know, pointing to the website and everything like that.
Yeah.
How are you going to help me? How do you want to get this film out there, and how do you want to, and how do you tell friends about it as well, and about your, to sort of get them involved with the whole process?
Well, all my friends know about it. Anyone who's my friend knows about it, and they're involved in some way, shape, or form. But I've hired a distribution company, and that's why I'm here at the festival, to sell my movie off to different territories. And I would like a theatrical release. I've made a deal with Sundance Television for it to be played on television in the U.S. in the fall. So I'd like to have theatrical television and available on DVD, hopefully before the end of the year. So, wish me luck.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to meet you, and it's a great message, and
Thank you.
and it's great for you to get out there.
Thank
so,
you.
But thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.